I think every time like you kind of go to a new country and you're like, I can't do this. And then you get there and you like cry alone in your apartment once you close the door. and then you like you slowly figure it out, and then it was the best thing you ever did.
Olá Brasil! Hello world! For those of you who don't know me, my name is Marcelo. I'm a Brazilian copywriter living and working in the US. And on today's episode of Publicitário na Gringa, I'll be talking with my good friend and amazing art director, Sera Takata. Different than most Americans that has their whole career and their whole education based in the US, Sera has a very unique story, a very unique background of before landing her first job in America, going abroad to study and to intern. So she has amazing experiences both in Japan and in Germany, which she will be sharing on this interview. Chatting with Sera was extremely insightful and extremely inspiring to me. So if you have planned to study abroad or to work abroad, watch this video to the very end because I'm sure it will blow your mind and you will learn a lot. But well, enough talk, let's see what Sera has to tell us.
Before I met you, like one thing that I had in my mind was really like, okay, so Americans are very focused on their own country. Some of them don't even have passports, blah blah blah. And then I see, okay, so there's a girl that decided to live abroad, to study abroad. Like, what motivated you to study in Europe, and why you choose Hamburg and why you choose Miami Ed School? What was the process that you went through?
Yeah, so okay, I'm totally aware of the stereotypes of Americans. I live, eat, breathe it around me all the time, but I'm kind of lucky in that I'm half Japanese. My dad's from Japan, and so I've kind of always had this like, I don't know, this taste of needing to go somewhere different just because I like inherently am different, I guess. So that didn't hurt. But to be honest, like I'm a super nerd and I picked up a book in like, I don't know, 7th grade, and it was about Scotland. And I was just like, I am going. I am absolutely going. So I knew when I got to college, I was going to have to do a study abroad and I was going to do it no matter what. So I went to Scotland during uni and then I was just hooked. I stayed there and I worked over the summer in England. And then I came back to the States after and I was like, wow, like I'm gonna like just decide to live here the rest of my life, or like do I go now while I'm young and stay far? I also know that like, yeah, I have so many friends and like my experiences sound super like they sound really pretentious when I like say them out loud, like the places that I've lived, the things that I've done. But it's crazy. But like I know so many other people of privilege or people that have had the chance and just chosen not to for whatever reason. And so I just really wanted to not do that and take every opportunity I could. So for me, Miami Ad School is like the one place and one program that I could have gone to a country where I don't speak the language and study there. Like most places, you need to like have a certain level of the language, like you have to have whatever XYZ prerequisites that like bar most Americans who like aren't good at other languages
Yeah.
from going places. And like I like knew I don't know, it was just like this awesome opportunity that I'd never get to do otherwise. The other thing was like they have a master's program in Germany, which they only offer as well in the Miami Ed School. And I already went to school in Miami for university, so I was like, nah, there's no way I'm gonna do it again.
And when you decided that, what was the process to get accepted? And I guess even more important, what's the bureaucracy to get a visa to be able to stay there? Like, what was the whole process to get there?
Cool. Well, applying is super, super fast. They have you fill out a few like artistic questions if you're if you're an art director wannabe, and then like I don't know what copywriters have to do, but you basically just like do a few exercises or something and show them if you know how to use Photoshop, blah blah blah, and then you hear back within like 2 weeks. So the turnaround
Oh,
was
super fast, super
yeah,
fast.
super fast. I don't know if that's just Germans being really efficient or something. Yeah, it was like you apply on a whim and then all of a sudden you realize like, oh shoot, am I allowed to swear in this?
Yeah, totally.
Okay,
Yes,
cool.
yes. We had
Yeah, then you
worse.
realize
We
you're
had
going.
worse.
We've had worse. Okay, see, like all
Yeah,
I know in Portuguese is like foda or like
yeah.
And that's like also a good word. So it's like,
It can be good and bad, yeah. And about the visa, did you had to have like, were you under student visa, tourist visa? What's the whole process on that?
as an American, it's super, super easy to get into Germany. Like, so you just go in however you were planning on going in, like you just kind of walk in. But then once you're in, you have to go and do all the paperwork. So you
Oh,
have
I
to
see.
go like bring all your your documents, your bank papers, your school IDs, your residence stuff, and then you bring it to a place called the Welcome Center. Super welcoming.
Yeah, I remember that. I had to go there too.
Yeah, that place is really intimidating, but
Yes.
I mean, you must have experienced it even only being there a short amount of time, but the amount of paperwork is insane. And it's not
Yes.
welcoming at all because the paperwork isn't in English for the most part. Like they'll maybe have an English version that you can also print out and like sort of pseudo translate. But that's the harder part. Once you're there, you have to do that. And then you like once you're registered to the country, you have to register to your like segment of the city, and then you have to
Uh-huh.
start paying a bunch of taxes that you didn't know existed, and things like there's like a radio tax. I don't know, there's a million things, but the yeah, as an American, those
Well,
are easy to get there, just like hard to be a good law-abiding citizen once you're in.
not talking necessarily about bureaucracy now, talking about changes and like new place. What was your biggest challenge when you arrived in Hamburg?
So once you find out you get in, you're kind of like, oh shoot, I need to find out where I'm living. Like it's not like a university in the States where like everything is kind of like everyone does the same thing. um
Yes.
Everyone lives in apartments there, and of course like it's in German, so like you're also like used to all these premonitions. Like for example, there's like a German version of Craigslist that you use to find apartments, which is totally not sketchy, but like as an American you just are so like accustomed to thinking that that's not right. uh,
Yeah.
and so you're like you're searching on the web and you're finding these things. And I remember like when I was looking for an apartment, I like turned to my mom and was like, I appreciate them being so honest, but like I don't know why they're telling me all these rooms are bad. But like the actually the word bad means like bath or something there. So it meant like
Uh-huh.
bathroom. But all I would look at is like these websites that are advertising these rooms that would just say bad, bad, bad. Like, oh my God, this place is nuts. But no, it's like it's not so bad once you're there. I think if you find an apartment once you're there, it's easier than trying to find one before. So like get an Airbnb for a bit and then just kind of talk to people around school, and they usually know someone who knows someone who's doing. I think
Yeah.
you had an Airbnb, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I stayed just for 3 months, so I stayed for the whole thing on an Airbnb. But in the US, I did what you mentioned. I stayed in an Airbnb like for a week, and what meanwhile I was house hunting, and then I found the place that I'm in, and thank God it's not an Airbnb. But anyway,
It's so expensive.
yeah, yeah,
Crazy
that's
expensive.
and but when you went, you mentioned you only speak English. So how was learning the language, and how much improvement you got during the 2 or 3 years that you stayed, right?
2 years, yeah.
2 years, yeah.
So I like when I found out I got in, I got Rosetta Stone. I don't know if you guys have the same thing in Brazil, but it's like a huge learning platform online
Oh,
here.
I don't know that. No.
Okay, it was terrible. It didn't work at all. It didn't help. I have it, and you get this little headset that you learn on, and you're like speaking into your computer. But yeah, to be honest, you didn't need the German at Miami Ad School at all, like in no way, shape, or form. I'd say each quarter is about 10 kids. For us, we had an abnormal amount of Germans. I think there was like 4 or 5 out of 10 were German. And then all your classes were in English, and then the paperwork that you would need to get done, you like around the city bureaucracy wise, requires so much German that like it's not like a beginner is just going to pick up that German. So
Yes.
it's yeah, it's just not realistic. I think like I actually try to join a gym when I get places, and so that's how I learned any and all German that I have because they just like shout numbers and times at you, and then you kind of have to figure it out. But aside that, like I learned because I wanted to, not because I had to. I mean, you want to be able to go to a store and order something in German, and I wanted to make German friends, and so you do that. And I think like you can easily do it without knowing any of it. I think a bunch of kids graduated knowing how to say hi and uh cool, like that's
Uh-huh.
like 2 words, and then that's it.
Maybe it's different because it's Miami Ad School, not necessarily because it's Germany. But how different were the classes that you had in the US versus what you had in Miami Ad School in Hamburg?
Yeah, I don't know if it's because it's Miami or because it's Germany, but I would say the biggest difference is that like they, maybe it's also because it's European uni and not American in general, but like Germans love being on time. Like if you're on time, you're late. Yeah, seriously though, it's kind of scary because they have like an initial meeting that's like a welcome kind of meeting, but it's kind of also like an intimidation kind of meeting, like
Uh-huh.
like a welcome to Germany, be on time kind of thing. And it's just like, okay, like in university in the States, I think that you get there and you're like, what the fuck is up, kids? Like you guys are gonna deal with me for a semester, and you kind of become like, I don't know,
Uh-huh.
just this level of casual.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a certain amount of like formalities that you do have to hold.
A quick break here in the interview just to remind you guys that we have new videos every Monday and Friday. So if you want to work abroad, if you like this type of content, don't forget to subscribe so you'll receive a notification every time we post a new video.
In the middle of your course at Hamburg, you had the opportunity to internship at Ogilvy, Japan. So what's the process for people who don't know Miami Ad School and things? What was the process to being accepted for this internship? And what do you think was the key for, because again, like it's Ogilvy, it's Tokyo, it's like, oh my God, a lot of people want to go. What was the key for you to being chosen?
Well, okay, to me, it's also it's funny because it was just like the most popular internship ever, Ogilvy Tokyo, and I like I mean, I think it's super cool. I love that people are excited about it, but I had no idea why it was so
Of
popular.
course,
I
Tokyo,
don't
yay!
I don't know, okay? I don't know. But yeah, so at Miami Ad School, Hamburg, it's different at all the Miami Ad Schools, but there you have your first 4 quarters are on campus in Germany, and then you have fifth, sixth, and seventh quarter where you have the opportunity to either do internships or go to other schools around the world, which is super amazing. Like the opportunities are insane. And then you come back for your eighth quarter back to Germany. So I knew, because like of course it's the most popular and everyone wants to go to this internship, that I was going to apply to that internship every time until I got it. So like I asked people like why they were like so excited and also what they did to get in, and there was a rumor going around that they accepted one kid from Europe, one kid from the US, and one Asian kid always. Like that there was some sort of pattern.
So
And
you were in the three spots.
exactly. I would like I was right in the sweet spot. I was studying in Europe. I look Asian and I'm from the States. Like bingo. But like on top of that though, I did try to make my book. I changed around some pieces and I did some work to try to like emphasize the fact that I do know a bit about the culture, because I think once I got there and I actually I think I asked point blank, like, is this true? And they're like, they didn't say it was untrue, but I think in general they just wanted someone that knew something of the culture, because it's so easy to get there and it's just so vastly different that you just, I mean, it's hard to find, I don't want to say it's hard to find insights, but it's just like you have to do a whole nother layer of just like research and whatever to kind of even like hit the ground running. So I changed my icon on my website so that it would flip between my name in English and my name in Japanese.
Wow.
Like yeah, I did other work in like on some Japanese brands or something, or I did a project in Tokyo, I don't know, but I like made sure to tailor my book so that it would at least show in some way that I knew something about Japan, and I hope that would help. And it did. It worked.
When you moved to Tokyo, this is kind of a repetition of a previous question. What was the main challenge? And do you think that having the previous experience of, okay, I'm moving to another country, to Germany, did it help in some way for you or not? It was like reset button, okay, all the same challenges again.
No, it's definitely easier. I think every time like you kind of go to a new country and you're like, I can't do this. And then you get there and you like cry alone in your apartment once you close the door. and then you like you slowly figure it out, and then it was the best thing you ever did. And then you go do it again and you're like, oh my God, I can't do this again. And you cry in your apartment, and like the chain goes on. But this was the fourth time I'd moved to another country. So I think by now it was like much easier. And I also went with my family because I was going to spend New Year's with family in Japan. So
Oh, cool.
yeah,
Nice.
like I mean, for me, it was like not a home away from home necessarily, but I mean, I definitely had a different experience than other people. And just knowing Japan and like some amount of Japanese probably helped.
Hmm.
But I will say the hard part moving there compared to other places is like the standard of living, or like the style of living. It was like a 15-person apartment. 15. Yeah,
Wow.
I know, crazy, right? But like I mean, they make it super easy. It's like a bunch of foreigners in the same place, and you figure it out all before you get there. So it's not like Germany where you like go and you figure it out. Like in Japan, like they know you're gonna be in this apartment. Like you've got
Wow.
people each floor. Like it's totally different.
But this type of accommodation is specific for Miami, specific for students, or is just something that Japanese does?
Yeah,
Well,
it's specific for foreigners. So I think that they're so used to
oh,
having
okay.
it just makes it easier on them because to have everyone in one place. I don't know, but
I
yeah,
see. I see. That
my
makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
yeah. In the end, to get
Temporary, I guess, also, right? Like it's
yeah,
people they're not staying forever there
exactly.
or
Like
nothing.
yeah, I was with I think 4 people from Miami Ad School, but then you're in a giant building full of other people. Like the person next to me actually was from Russia, and he like would not say a word to me at all. No, and so I assumed he didn't speak any English, which is totally fine. It's cool, like you're like next to so many different cultures in one place. But like then I remember thinking this is so weird. I would wake up in the morning and I would hear English coming from his room, and I was like, but this kid won't speak to me and he doesn't seem to understand when I'm talking to him. And then I'd listen more, and it was like the walls are like paper thin there. Japan is like you are never alone ever. But he was playing American conspiracy theories, like of name absurd like attacks or things that had happened. Like he would just
Wow.
blast them from his room, and I was like, this guy totally knows English, and he's totally screwing with me right now.
Talking about talking in English, at Ogilvy, Japan, the work was done in English, in Japanese, or a mix of both?
Definitely a mix. So the the CCO at the time, and he's still there now, is American. And then my ECD at the time was from Portugal.
Whoa,
My
so very, very, very international team actually in Japan. Like
uh,
not necessarily the whole team, but I mean at least the
at the top.
leadership is is diverse. It's
Yeah,
curious.
at the
But
top.
anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
No, 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 it's fine. It's true. I mean, at the top, and I think that's kind of common in Japan actually to like have, and it's still Ogilvy, it's still a WPP company, so it's like it's kind of natural that they end up having like a diverse like top
Uh-huh.
end. But yeah, I think the most of the work, I mean, at the end of the day was done in English just because they had to present it, and they spoke some Japanese, but not that much. And then like on the day-to-day level, it's harder because underneath them there's the girl from Poland who did Miami at school, and then there's like I don't know. So you find pockets of people, but at the end of the day, the strategy, the accounts, the all the rest of the office are all mostly Japanese and
Japanese.
mostly not English speaking.
Yeah, and the work that is executed is specific to Japan or is like whole Asia?
Yeah, I think most of it was just Japan. They do work, I think, with some of the other Ogilvy offices in Asia, but ours were specifically Japan, which is super cool because they have amazing like little cultural insights and stuff that you can play with forever and ever over there.
So you had the opportunity to intern at Tokyo. You intern and currently is working at David Miami. We work together at Facebook Hamburg. Can you talk a little bit of the differences that you saw in the way of working in each of these places, and what's the best and worst part of each one of them?
Yeah, I mean, maybe we can start with Facebook. We were both there. Like the work-life balance is kind of insanely balanced. I don't know, like
Yeah.
like discomfortingly balanced. But that's also Germany. They're really, really good about having like really strong like mental health rules and blah blah blah. I mean, they fed us. We went to work, we did the work, we left at I don't know, whatever, 5 or 6, and then the same thing every day.
Yes,
It was like consistency, efficiency, and you got
that's
what you
true.
came for. Like nothing more, nothing less. Like you could do more work, and we did, but I mean, there's still no need for you to be around because nobody else is ever going to be around. Which surprises me because in so many ways, Japan and Germany remind me of each other, like culturally. I mean, they're two
Hmm.
countries that are like super. There are a lot of formalities. There's a lot of like seniority respect and stuff going on. There's like the same sort of tech. Like they're both really cash-based economies. They're super like kind of old school places, even though they seem really forward and techy and whatever. But Japan, I mean, has their stereotypes of like people falling asleep on the trains, um, and working until absurd hours, and that was definitely true. I mean, people, uh, like nobody was like forcing you to stay, but you kind of never wanted to leave before someone else left. So it was like I'm watching you.
Yes,
Like
but not too
nobody was
late.
gonna yeah, nobody was going to be the first person to go. And I think that's kind of how it feels sometimes in Miami. Not like, not nearly the level of like intimidation or anything, but like, I think there's just culturally, there's this need to kind of, I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. To everyone working and like staying like the extra mile and things like that. That is more than like the extra mile sometimes, like the standard mile, but way longer. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But then the lucky thing is we like what we do. So it like, it doesn't feel like you're there forever. Um,
Yeah,
and so I guess like that's different. And then in Miami, I think it's kind of like that same sort of culture of like working hard, but there is definitely more play. Like Japan, there is very little play
I
um,
see.
during the day. And then I think in Miami, there's like, I mean, I don't know, there's like a soccer being like hurled around the office that you think is gonna hit your monitor and you're getting worried, but like you get drinks afterwards or something. I think like it's work-life balance with more work, but like the whole day is kind of play. So I don't know
I
if that.
see. Yeah, yeah. I would say from what you're saying, it's kind of work hard, play harder. While Japan's like work hard, work hard, work hard. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I
Just
mean, like in Japan, like they do definitely play hard occasionally, but like at the workplace, like and it's maybe it's also a thing like as a woman too. Like the women are beautiful. Like they come in, and I don't just mean beautiful like their person, but they come in like really made up and like they have heels on and their hair's done and like their makeup's always done. And before masks were a thing because of COVID, like in Japan, masks are a thing not only if you're sick, but like if you're breaking out that day or if you didn't have time to do your makeup, you put on a mask so that
wow,
other people don't have to see how ugly your face is that day. It's like
wow, that's insane.
it's very intimidating. So you're just like, I come in and it's not like I thought I looked like shit, but you come in and you're like, I I don't know, I
I
don't.
know there's a comparison around. It's like, oh my god. Yes,
Yeah, it's just totally different, like completely different. And I think everyone's super, super petite and small there. So it's just like the type of clothes you wear are different. Like if I wear headphones, people don't wear headphones there like you do here. People
How's
don't
that?
I mean, people I mean, you kind of do, but I think it's just like it's more of an I don't want to say like an underground thing, but it's people are very formal. So I think like
Underground.
I don't know. It's, no,
Don't
it's
work listening to music. Focus. I don't know.
no, you do, but like they have to be like really secure headphones that like don't project noise that other people can hear. But
Oh, I
like
see.
yeah,
I
because then
see.
everything is about how you affect other people around you. So
I
like
see.
anything you do, whether it's like when you're out walking to if you're sitting in the office, like we were definitely the loud people in the in the office. In Miami, it's like a totally other side. I mean, people like come in and they're like everyone's got their Nike shoes that like are crazy colors and some like I don't know, it's just a different vibe
I
every day.
know. Yeah, more informal, less friendly, and I don't know. Like
A lot more
I get that.
tattoos.
What do you think was the impact on your career of having this international experience? And the reason I'm doing this question is because when I was in here in New York, I was talking with some guys that, oh, aren't you planning to like to do quarter away abroad? And I said, I want to work in the US, so why should I go abroad? But like you study abroad, and now you're working in a really great agency in the US. So what was the impact that you what difference you think having this international experience gave you?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think I wasn't planning on moving back to the States so soon. My Portuguese boss in Japan was the one who actually convinced me to apply to one quarter. He was like, you're from the States, you should do one quarter in the US." And I was like, fine, if I have to. But of course, like I applied to David, didn't expect to get it. Here I am, and I think it it's like the stars all aligned and whatever, and I'm here now and I'm super happy. But if you look around the office, like all the people that I work for now, I mean, they've lived in 4 different countries as well, and they're in the States, but a lot of them are from Brazil or they're from, I don't know, anywhere around the world. So I think if I hadn't done this, I wouldn't have the same experience that a lot of people I work with now do. And then on top of that, one of the biggest things that I think it helped me with, like advertising wise, is that like you have to leave home to understand it, like to have like an outside vision on your own where you're from.
Hmm.
And so like you go to Germany or you go to whatever other country, like it was so, I don't want to say easy to find insights, but it's so like obvious the things that are different to you. Like and the things
Uh-huh.
that are totally normal to them every day are like astounding. Like in Germany, people sleep with 2 comforters. Like each partner has their own blanket. Like it's little things like that. Or in Japan,
That's amazing. I didn't know that. I
no,
didn't
it's
know that.
yeah, but you wouldn't know that. Like, and to them, it's just like, yeah, duh. But to me, I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny. Like maybe like I don't know if I ever work for IKEA, there's like a funny thing. I don't know. And then in
Yeah.
Japan, like for example, they date using blood type. Like what? Like, how would like we had a client that was a dating app for a while, and we just like were trying to research like how people in Japan date, and it was like yeah, you guys don't know your blood type? And we're like, no, of course we don't know our blood type. Why do you know your blood type? And they're like, yeah, like it tells you all about your personality and stuff. And
Wow.
yeah, so they're just like,
Wow.
there are these little things that like when you go somewhere new are just like so easy to spot. And then I realized that I could kind of use that same thought process when I came back to the States and try to see the things that Americans do that like I think are totally average, but everyone points out. And I mean, now once you start knowing a bunch of people that are totally willing to shove in your face what Americans do weirdly, then it just becomes even more and more obvious, like how strange some of the things that we do are. Like you tell me that in Brazil, there's no fun-sized packaging. So,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. What one thing that I must say that for me was like, oh my God, what's Sarah doing? And then I started working in the US and said, okay, that's what Americans do. Is like eat on your desk. I was like, why is she taking all the food that Facebook gives us on this beautiful place and taking to her desk and say, "Oh, that's just what Americans do." So it's really that, like, things that you only learn in the day-to-day basis. It won't be in the movies, it won't be in the series, it won't be in any. Just if you live for a while, I guess.
And it's fun,
Cool.
right? Like I think like okay, for example, like you can now go do the same thing with Brazil. Although I think like from my experience with Brazilians that Brazilians have like a weird way to like self evaluate and find like insights that are only Brazilian but Brazilians somehow know. I don't know, like
How's that?
I don't know, there's so many like Gringa dictionary and stuff like points out funny insights. Do you follow them on
Oh,
Instagram? I don't know, there are a
yeah,
million
yeah.
random things that are just like innately Portuguese or innately Brazilian and like or like in the Portuguese language that everyone talks about. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Gringo Dictionary definitely changed that because they started like, okay, this just Brazilians actually understand what we're saying here. I guess because we are very proud of some brasilidades or things like that, I'd say. But yeah.
that's so cool though, because here I think like when like there's so many movies out of the States, like and these movies get exported everywhere, they kind of feel like it's not like everyone says all your life that Americans don't have culture. And so it's just like hammered into you that like American culture is like giant jumbo trucks and like I don't know, like a redneck or something like and so you kind of like lose the mystification of what cool things actually are in
Uh-huh.
unique here. So
Yeah. And since we're talking about Brazilian, you work in a company that its origin is from Brazil. So how big is Brazilian culture and influence at David Miami? I know the answer, but I guess it's super worth telling everyone about this.
yeah, I mean I actually don't because it was in Portuguese, your last one, I didn't actually get to hear what you guys talked about. The guys
About David Spain, yeah.
yeah, exactly. But I mean, I guess from that, that's a little taste of how the culture kind of like has branched across all the four offices. I think we hired three more Americans this year, and you kind of like can count them. So it was like when my partner Jared and I would get into a call, it's like, oh, the Americans are here, gotta like switch languages. Damn it.
That's and
Um,
you were in an agency in America, which is crazy, right? You
exactly.
would
So I
expect that the opposite.
yeah, it's super funny, and I think like so out of the creatives, there were I mean, and you know, like David has had a lot of like a lot of turnaround. It's been a completely new place, but this year until recently, I think there were like 12 creatives. I think four of us were American or like native English speaking, which is like astounding. It's super crazy. It's like we work in Brazil. For me, it's super cool because I never intended on moving back to the States so soon. Like I always thought like, oh, I should like while I'm young go live somewhere else. And essentially I kind of feel like I am. Yeah, you walk into the office and um you learn new phrases every day. People are like talking in Spanish, answering Portuguese, and then switching to English, and then I don't know. It's really cool. I think also of course like the cultural insights that people bring in, the like amazing talent that comes out of Brazil. Like I don't think you can learn art direction from anyone better than like a Brazilian art director. So I think my appreciation of I need to go to Brazil is what I'm trying to say. Like I need to understand where this all comes from because it's like it's fascinating. We're working with like as if we're working out of Brazil. If we have calls with like other offices, like we work between the offices and then like I don't know, I'm trying to pick up as much Portuguese as I can. Uh,
Yeah,
but no, it just makes every day fun.
yeah. You mentioned something that I guess is very interesting because Brazilians are definitely known for the art direction. How much more, I'm not sure if picky would be the right word, but how much more effort do you put in art direction in David versus what you had at Ogilvy, for example? Is there a difference or?
Yeah, I think well, Ogilvy in Japan, or Japan in general, is very different because I think that the art direction over there is very specific to Japanese culture.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's just a certain way that things tend to look, and I kind of see a certain, like, I'm starting to see a style out of Brazil as well. But I've definitely heard that Americans are not known in any way, shape, or form for art direction. It's all about,
That's not true, but I get what you're saying.
well, I mean, I'm not like insulted by it, but it's like it's we're known for, I don't know, like big stunty ideas or whatever happens out of,
Yeah.
like, it's like a Hollywood film here, just like explosions and whatever, and then yeah. But I think it's not that I like put more or less effort in. I'm just learning a lot more. I think you just can instantly tell, like, the level that they are at is just beyond yours. Like, it's not just because, like, oh, they've been here longer. Like, they just have a craft and like a way of working that you didn't learn in school. And it's cool because I feel like I absolutely have like a standard that I want to hit, or like a place I can keep growing towards. But definitely intimidating also because they're just like, they are absolutely Photoshop wizards.
You have the opportunity to work like with two of like the biggest creative Brazilian creative minds. How's working with these two guys?
Working with Zampanzado, I think what people see of them from the outside is like these super serious photos that they take when they have their interviews, and it's like this, like, I don't know, they just had another article come out about them at the end of last week in News or something, and it was just like a get to know them kind of thing. And it's so funny when you get to know them like through an article, like compared to in person. um but I don't know what it is like about Brazilians that make everyone super talented. I don't think that's it with them though, and I don't think that's what makes them great to work with. They're like the most genuine and like caring bosses you could ever have. I think they really, like, they've taken every experience that they've had in their I don't know, however many years of doing this, and they're super keen on not having their creatives go through the same things they went through if they can help it. Which, I mean, is, I don't, it's not something that you'd think of when you think of your bosses, but I mean, it actually, like, it's everything from, I mean, they don't want everyone to burn out all the time. They don't want everyone to, like, they want transparency. They want a level of like feeling like your ideas are yours and they're going to fight for them just as much as they fight for their ideas. Like Moldy Whopper, that was like a 4-year idea. Like, they've got your ideas in their head too, and they bring them up when they can. um so yeah, I don't know what part about Brazil, like, where that plays in, but they're super internationally experienced as well. I mean, talking about moving to a bunch of different countries, like, they were in, I want to say, Argentina and Portugal and London, and it's hard not to see them and think like, wow, okay, like, it's just like they've done everything. They've been everywhere. They're like superhuman. And then you come into the office and like Zampa's pranking someone, making a bunch of like silly stickers and wearing the Eat Like Andy wig around the office. So I don't know if that answers the question exactly, but
Yeah,
um,
totally. One thing that for me when I moved to the US was very interesting is that Americans don't use WhatsApp whatsoever. Like because you guys have unlimited plans, so like basically it's funny. My cell phone, I have a folder with just the corporate apps that I use for work, and iMessage is there because I only use with Americans. Because in all the rest of the world you use WhatsApp, but I'm interested in how much WhatsApp do you use at work versus all the rest of the things you do in America?
yeah,
Because David is a Brazilian DNA, let's put it like that.
no, I think I'm the opposite of you. I have WhatsApp in my work folder, and no, but it's also my play folder. So I think now WhatsApp is just kind of my life because I've kind of lived in abroad for the past, I mean, on and off for the past 4 years or something. Um, and so I think now I only use iMessage for my family, and if I talk to high school friends or something.
I see.
So I
Yeah.
know if I get an iMessage, I know exactly who it's coming from 99% of the time. And then WhatsApp is all work, and
An
then all
international
European.
friend. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just like I know like the type, like the person who might be messaging me is
Yes.
where they're coming from. But I will say I've been converted to WhatsApp just solely on, okay, two things: stickers and the instant reply, like
Yeah.
the which they now have on iMessage, and I nerded out, but it's too late. I've been converted.
What do you miss most from Europe and Japan?
Okay, Japan, the food, easily the food.
Ah, yes. I agree.
It's like if you ever thought like, oh, I don't like sushi or something, and like, I don't love Japanese food, like go to Japan. I will personally provide you a list of places to eat. Like, it is so good, and it's so cheap too. Like, we would get, I don't know, like $10, American dollars equivalent of food money per day, and that could get you lunch and dinner, and it would be like really
Wow.
good lunch and dinner too. It's like, and
It's
I don't know how
amazing.
to describe. So yeah, Japan, the food, and also just I think like the culture there. It's like it's hard to not be inspired when you're walking around Tokyo. Like I mean, it is Tokyo. Like there's,
Yeah. Such a
it's insane.
nice city. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then I think Germany, I definitely do appreciate the work-life balance. Like the way that they go as hard on their personal lives as they do in their work life is something that's like that I, from working in Japan and the US, like I don't know how they do it. I I really don't. I have no idea how you accomplish such a feat. But I think that's one thing. Also, just the in general the quality of life there. I mean, of course, the US you've realized has not figured out health insurance or all those things that should be kind of normal, but like we also don't have things like public transport figured out super well. And uh in Germany, of course, just getting around is so much easier. Like the
Yeah.
yeah, it's the little things. I mean, the I feel like also just the you don't need so much. Like here it's like there's just like so much in your face of like, oh, capitalism, and I love like trust me, don't get me wrong. I love like some random stuff people have invented on Amazon or whatever website, but like there, it is refreshing to just kind of feel like content with what is. And
Yes.
you try to bring that back here, but it is
Yeah, it's not easy. Not easy. It's
not
like
easy.
buy new stuff. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's totally different, and like it's yeah, it's self-discipline and stuff, but there's like an extent where it's a lot easier. I mean, over there, like your friends will wear like the same 5 outfits all week. Like, and it's like it's cool. It's really rad. They're so stylish, they're fun, they're cool. And then here it's like, oh my god, like every I don't know, people are it's
Yeah,
another life.
it's different. It's
Yeah.
different. It's definitely different. And thinking on mid and long term, do you see yourself living abroad again? If yes, do you think it would be Europe and Japan again, or maybe a new market?
When I was looking at that question, I was that's like a life question I'm trying to figure out. Like how soon do I go live abroad again? Um, Definitely, I'm thinking about it. Uh, a lot to do with like that quality of life I was talking about, like the ability to just like live in a city, not have a car, not have like any of those things, and just get around. Um, but I think, I mean, David, you know, David, I feel super lucky at David. It's kind of this opportunity that of a lifetime that you just kind of can't just up and leave. So I think like I'll have to wait and see like how much. I mean, I think you could kind of probably learn and keep learning forever here. Um, but when
Yeah,
I like kind of have reached a point where I think that I've learned enough that I'd feel comfortable leaving, then that would be, I guess, when I would think of that step. But really hard to do that after you get like a start here.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. I had a another person in an interview saying he was at Adam and Eve, and he was saying, "Oh, and like I was always learning, but eventually he said, okay, I reached a point here that now it's the time." Curiously, he went to Germany. He was at Adam and Eve, London, and then okay, now is the time to apply everything that I learned at an Eve at another place, and then he moved. But yeah, so it's always like this balance of like, oh my god, amazing place, learning so much, well, and oh, there's also some stuff out there, I guess, which is
Yeah.
it's interesting. And again, I always say that to all the people that I talk to. The answer to the next question is basically everything that we talked so far, but if you would summarize in just a few words or just a few sentences, what's your advice for people wanting to study and intern abroad?
First, do it. I mean, I don't know. I guess most of your subscribers are in Brazil, right?
Yeah, but we're trying to get people from outside, so yeah.
No, that's cool because I mean, I would love for more Americans to do it, to be honest. Like,
Yes.
I mean, it'll change the way you see not only advertising but just the world. So I think like if you can have the opportunity and any capacity, just do it. Nike. Um, so first, go get abroad if you can in any way. Second, find once you're there, find any way that you can make your own niche inside of their own culture. I don't care if that's like joining a gym like me, like joining a gym for me was everything because I can just kind of like go and meet people and like that's how you learn the language. It's how you see like I don't know, little insights into like how people live. Like I don't know, there's uh like the way that they interact with each other is just different and you can kind of watch like a fly on the wall. But then you could also people try dating apps. Like it's dating in another country. It's like a whole nother world of conversations, but you'll find out such interesting things about people. Like it's just fun to meet new people. So I think any way like that you don't get stuck with just a bunch of other foreigners living in that country is huge. Like they'll show you
Yeah.
parts of that country that you would never know talking
That
to an expat that you're also there with.
Yeah, that's so important, I guess. Like because when that's really the thing. Like in Germany, I just walked with the Miami people, so I didn't really experience like, oh my God, that's whole thing. While when I was at Austin at my exchange program, I lived in a dorm. I had a lot of American friends, and that's the way that you immerse yourself in the culture, which I guess it's related to what you're saying about the gym. Thank you so much for your time here, Sarah. I think it was really cool, and thank you again for your time. For me, it was really nice. I'm sure for everyone will be super inspiring. So thank you so much.
It's so weird to hear someone think that like me just like doing whatever random stuff I've done is inspiring, but I'm so glad. I mean, it's amazing. Thank
It
you so
is.
much.
It is.
I don't know, but thank you
So
so much. I mean, you've had amazing people on this already, so honored to be one of them and
yeah.
stoked to keep seeing you put out content. This is an awesome channel.
I'd like to thank Sarah again for this very inspiring talk. It was really a pleasure to know a little bit more about her experience, and I learned a lot. I hope you guys also learned and got as much inspiration as I did. And if you like this type of content, don't forget to click on the little ball here to subscribe so you don't miss any of the next videos. And also click on the card on this side so you can binge all the interviews that we had so far. And that's it. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.